Alan, if ever the scoreboard didn't tell the whole story on the weekend, it was that game on Friday.
Yeah, probably what it did show you is the spirit, the resilience, and the effort that we put in. Unfortunately, we didn't reward ourselves in terms of our defensive display and our resilience, particularly in our own 22. The opposition had 9 minutes 22 seconds, we had 18 seconds, so that in itself tells you the game. We were disappointing with the ball in terms of putting the opposition under pressure. With 11 lineouts, out of 10 of those we had an average of 2.7 phases. We had 5 scrums and we only held the ball for 10 phases for 5 scrums. So a lot of what I saw was brilliant in terms of the energy, the effort, what it means to the group, that valour, if you like. I saw a really good team shape, but we got to be more desperate on the ball in terms of our accuracy.
How much has that improved the spirit, if you like? You mentioned that those were. How much have you seen that improve in the close season?
Yeah, it's. I suppose if you're measuring it, you measure it through performance, the style of rugby you're playing, winning games. Maybe when an aspect of your game isn't going well, what you do without the ball. And for me, I said to the boys at half time, they would do for me. What I saw is the makings of a really good side. And it's a bit like, having a friend or a young family member that you see so much potential in them, you just want to give them a shake and say, we're within a very short distance. Another phase, I heard Jonathan Davies, Jiffy's got a good eye for the game in the moment, saying that we were another phase away from really cracking a side. So that's what I was seeing, and the players know that themselves. So yeah, you measure it through results, you measure it through the morale in the camp. I said this morning, it's been really pleasing to listen to the buzz in team rooms, in the pavilion where the boys eat. But equally, it was, that was on the back of winning. It was particularly pleasing today because we know that the solutions are here, but we also recognise that we've 3 games now where we've got to make sure we don't have the same regrets as we had on Friday evening.
Because it's fine margins, but that disallowed try before half time was, well, we'd never know, but it was a big moment.
It was a beautiful piece of rugby. I think it's something we'd prepared well for. I don't know, what do you guys think in terms of what's your opinion? I've listened to a lot of experts. I've listened to a lot of fans, and I am a purist in terms of the game and the safety of the game. I was one of the drivers of really refereeing the neck roll, because I was coaching it at a time when it was legal, so to speak. I don't know if it ever actually was legal, but it wasn't being refereed as a penalty offence in the same way as a high tackle is. So I was a driver of that, recognising that we have a duty of care to every young man and older player. But as far as I saw, and I've looked through the game with diligence, and we're currently doing that, there were significantly more offences by the opposition than there were by us. Having said that, if it was a penalty, fine, I'll live with that. But on a 50-50 decision like that, something that starts on the jersey and finishes on the jersey with the arms not around the neck, I would have to say that I think you have to reward the attack in that situation.
I think that's going to go on and on, isn't it, unfortunately. In terms of where you are at the moment, in terms of, you mentioned a good place, and just building a bit of momentum, because you could be going out again to your former side for the crucial match. If you were to get the Champions Cup, what would that reflect this year, where an awful lot of things has happened?
Yeah, and we've spoken about that over the the last number of weeks. If you look at where we were 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, we were really chasing a playoff, and the odds were against us. We've done particularly well, winning 4 out of 6, to get ourselves into that position where we've got Champions Cup football. For me, it creates a cup final for us to look forward to. I think in the context of the season, first half v second half, you know, if we'd had this form at the beginning of the season, we wouldn't be talking about a Champions Cup playoff position. We'd be talking about knockout rugby with regards to the Pro 14. So it's good. It's a good position to be in, healthy in the sense that where we were compared to where we are now, we have a chance of grabbing something really tangible that has meaning going forward.
Forgive me if you've answered this. In terms of where you will be next year, do you go back to your role that you were in at the start, or do you know what your situation will be?
No, I'm not in a position to comment on that at present.
And then in terms of playoffs, obviously we've been talking earlier about potential qualification scenarios across the leagues and possibility of you finishing as the 20th team already in terms of that qualification. Have the Pro 14 been in touch and say they will definitely be a playoff regardless of what happens in terms of whoever wins the Champions Cup and things like that?
No, they haven't.
Right.
But obviously we've looked at various scenarios, and what you can only control is what you already know. So we're preparing for a Champions Cup playoff as it stands, until some other tournaments have come to fruition.
Okay, so your focus is purely on that game, and in terms of the date, that's the 19th.
Well, to be honest, my focus is completely on Saturday,
Right.
And with the playing squad going into Saturday, on the back of that, Blues, and then we'll be in a better position to know who we're honing in on in terms of opposition, if there is to be opposition.
Is that a difficult situation that, in terms of results, there's not a huge amount riding on the next 2 weekends?
Not at all.
No.
Not for the morale of the group. You know, I think if I was to say anything less, I'd disrespect our effort without the ball on Friday night.
Yeah.
You know, it just shows you what it means to the player group here.
In terms, we just had James Hooker speaking to us. What, in terms of him, and where do you see him as part of this squad moving forward the next season?
Yeah, you'd like to be able to pick all players, particularly players of the calibre of man that James Hooker is. We have an award on a weekly basis for the person we feel has contributed most, and James has won that, even though he hasn't been selected. In terms of it tells you the quality of the person, the quality of the professional rugby player that he is, that he leaves here every day feeling that he's added value, that he's being coached, he's being challenged, and as a result of that, we're better as a team.
In terms of his experience as well, just to pass to the younger players and things like that, and how important is that as well?
He's been absolutely fantastic off the field and on the field, and he's as good a professional as I've worked with in terms of he's still ambitious. He's challenged me on selection, and we've had deep conversations regarding it. But for me, it doesn't matter what level you're at, you've got to be a good professional. And you know, there'll always be players who are disappointed. You actually want that within your group. It's how they deal with that disappointment, to ensure that they're putting the Ospreys and the team first. And I say Ospreys because the Ospreys is greater than the team, but when the team perform at the weekend, they represent the Ospreys.
Is Justin back from the Gold Coast?
He's en route, so I'm just on him. I had tremendous feedback, not just what he did on the field, but what he did off the field. And he's returning to us healthy, which is good, and healthy in body and also healthy in mind, which is exceptional for us.
Are you considering for this weekend, or is he,
we haven't finalised selection yet. We will look at freshening up the group. that's not to say that the game doesn't matter to us.
With Dan Bigger leaving at the end of the season, it's no secret that he's a real leader for you guys. Does that will that make James more vital next season? Because obviously Sam Davies is still a young guy. A lot of other young tens. Is he going to have more of a key role from a leadership point of view next year?
No less than he's had this season, to be quite honest. What it does is it maybe reduces our more experienced pool of tens. But I'm expecting Sam Davies to step up, I'm expecting Luke Price to step up, and I'm expecting James Hook to challenge those two, as well as Kai Evans coming through. So we've got experience in James, we've also got experience in Sam, and we've got real ambition in Luke Price and Kai Evans. So yeah, if you're profiling our squad going forward, you'd say we want to build in and around Sam Davies, but that'll be based on merit, it'll be based on performance, it'll be based on your contribution off the field and your contribution on the field.
If you go back to last season, everybody was talking about Sam being, potentially Wales' first choice 10, but obviously some results didn't go the Ospreys' way at the start of the season, so and obviously likes of Patcher are playing well. Do you still see huge potential for Sam potentially be Wales' 10 one day? Do you see that sort of international potential?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes you get that second season syndrome. People know more about you. They know how to defend you better. They know what your traits are. They've got more analysis. They've scouted you in greater depth. For me, I'm sure Sam's ambitious for 2019, but he's still young enough to go to 2023. And that doesn't start in the summer, it doesn't start next season, it starts today. And you contribute in terms of your progression to be that player, and you're ready. You're 1-2 injuries away. I was always told that myself, and whilst as a player you may feel quite a little bit out of the pecking order, 1 or 2 injuries can shove you up the ladder pretty quickly. 1 or 2 performances either way in terms of positivity or negativity can send you in 4 spaces up the ladder.
The Ospreys have obviously made a few signings, good signings recently. Obviously, I don't know if the board know, but obviously there's no head coach next season in place. So are you having an input in recruitment? How's that working?
Yeah, I've been involved in certain discussions. I think the board know which direction they want to go, to be honest. It's just that hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah. Are you happy with the strength of the squad for next season? Are you confident that be a better season results for us?
Yeah, well, I look at the strength of our squad and we're still profiling that, and we're still looking at recruitment. There are certain areas where we're going to be really strong, continue to be really strong, and there are areas we're looking to improve upon. Ultimately, you need a little bit of fortune also in terms of injury. You look at the quality of player that we don't have available or haven't had available for most of the season. It's been considerable. But where we are and where we're going to be are 2 different places. I think what's important is that we get the back end of this season completed. We freshen up, we come in, and we have a really positive pre-season leading into the start of the tournament.
Just a check question. I know Brad touched things either last week or the week before on George North. Any news on any potential that you hear?
There are no further developments as far as I understand, and that's me being genuine. So, I think it's been well documented that George is coming back to Wales. That's all I can tell you. Other than the fact that I admire him as a player. I've known him since he was 18. He wouldn't have known that when he was playing up in Clondovry against Irish schools. I couldn't believe he was only 17, 18 at the time. So, it's well documented, and we'd be foolhardy to say that we're not interested in him.